yo, salute to my man Domingo first and foremost. But look, Media Famous, the #1 artist services and music distribution in the fucking world, you heard? If you an artist, you trying to get your music heard, I'm telling you, Big Gorilla, don't ever disrespect me and not fuck with Media Famous, you heard? Bing bang.
Cheer, you know what it is. It's your boy Hakim Green, channel live and direct, BDP all day, every day. Can you hear me, Wes?
I can hear you.
All right, cool. That was the Big Gorilla, Nims, representing for Media Famous. Big shout out to the whole family over there. Domingo, you know what it is. This is IZM Sports, ladies and gentlemen. Hakim Green, Big West on the other side, Uncle Spliffy. What's happening?
What up, Cliff?
What up? What up? Hakim, West, what's going on, fellas?
It's good.
Man. Well, you know, guys, it's a little rough over here right now. Not really feeling well. I don't know if it's a stomach virus or I told you I've been dealing with this vertigo. So I feel like that right now. My stomach is a little twisted. So I don't know what's going on. But we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna trudge through. But if I have to dip out, I trust you guys will hold down the fort. I'm just gonna let it run if I have to dip. You know?
Absolutely.
Okay. But in the meantime, in between time, we're gonna do what we always do. We'll throw up a video. We're gonna share, like, subscribe, send people out, send the stream out to people, folks. Let them know what we're doing. We in the building, IZM Sports.
Yeah.
Got a lot to talk about, you know. But that being said, let's get to it.
Kick us off with the hot track, huh?
That's out on display on the DL out west pushing yay. What the fuck you say? Brother, watch your mouth. Who protects the children when you beefing with your spouse? It's like Tom and Jerry, a game of cat and mouse. Jerry kept the cheese, but the pussy kept the house. Who peeping from behind had all up her blouse? Saturday Night Live right there on his casting couch. This world is Jerry Springer, and no, I'm not the father. Who gave a bunch of rappers whose fathers didn't bother. Mother up on Murray, chefing up the curry. It's like we're in the handbasket, hell in a hurry. Snowfall more than flurry, kept the mink furry. Ski without the goggles, got our vision blurry. I got that blue magic, that right up, hurry. Wanna see, I'll show you shit like I'm from Missouri. Who at the wheel? Tell them hit the brakes. I don't like how this feel, little niggas give me shakes. The world is ringing, brothers, versus stole the soul. Is it love and hip hop or just pimps and hoes? Who at the wheel? Tell them hit the brakes. I don't like how this feel, little niggas give me shakes. The world is ringing, brothers, universe stole the soul. Is it love and hip hop or just pimps and hoes? Everything for sale, everybody got a price. They say they married to the game when they cheat on their wife. They lead a double life on stage thinking twice. When it's time to sell an ass, they ain't thinking twice. It turns men to mice, these rappers look like Mickey. They shifty, so you throw the guns in the air like sticky. Boys in the hood, on the run like Mickey. Chicks be picky, but really licky. They'll set you up on the ground, thinking bam, thank you ma'am. I'm trying to be positive, but I can't understand. She got a man, and he got a squad. They got Glocks, my nigga on guard. We living out the purge, everybody got the urge to hop about their lane like that shit said merge. When daddy is a perv and mommy throwing curves, try to be on the straight and narrow, but people make me swerve. Who at the wheel? Tell them hit the brakes. I don't like how this feel, little niggas give me shakes. The world is ringing, brothers, versus stole the soul. Is it love and hip hop or just pimps and hoes? Who at the wheel? Tell them hit the brakes. I don't like how this feel, little niggas give me shakes. The world is ringing, brothers, universe stole the soul. Is it love and hip hop or just pimps and hoes?
Is it love and hip hop Or just pimps and hoes.
No time.
Hey, thank you, Wes. Thank you, Wes. Big shout out to Mike Johnson, Mikey J, Robert Swinney Jr. Peace, peace, peace. Big shout out to the building. Yeah, man. So, hey, man. Let's start with a little NFL action.
Jack Del Rio.
Jack Del Rizzi. But, I'm just going to put it out like this. So, for the folks in the building who don't know, Jack Del Rio, retired NFL player, now assistant coach, defensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders. I think Jack Del Rio was head coach for the Panthers at one time.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jacksonville Jaguars. There you go. And somewhere else, right? Wasn't he somewhere else? Or that was it?
He was the interim coach at the Raiders.
At the Raiders, right. It's been around in leagues, man, 20 some odd years. And, it's just like we work, go to school with, socialize around folks who have these deep-seated beliefs and allegiances that are really contrary to the relationships that we have with them, contrary to the working environment that we're placed in, be it professional sports, corporate world, what have you. There are these people that look at us, look at our struggle. When I say us, I mean black and brown people. Look at our struggle, look at us, and they deal with us not as human beings, not as Americans, but as something to be tolerated, something to be, tolerated, I think is the right word. They tolerate us. And I think Jack Del Rio's statements in regards to the January 6th insurrection that occurred a year and a half ago in response to Donald Trump not winning his reelection campaign, Jack Del Rio compared that to the rebellion, the George Floyd protests, marches, rebellions, if you want to call them that. And he called January 6th a dust-up. And he said that, why should we be spending this much time dealing with January 6th when we didn't, quote unquote, deal with the George Floyd rebellion, the fires, there was a few establishments that got set ablaze in protest, or as because some of these situations were actually found to be set up by the right wingers, the folks on the other side, dressed up as if they were us, black and brown people in rebellion, to make it look like we don't know how to control ourselves. We don't know how to, right. So that some of that stuff that he's referencing, it's been proven those establishments were burnt down by the side that Jack Del Rio actually defends. But we kind of don't address that. We kind of just pretend like it's this thing over here. But long story short, him voicing his opinion just showed a severe lack of understanding about our struggle, our movement, what we're actually, fighting for, and a misunderstanding, purposely misunderstood or, not purposely misunderstood what January 6th insurrection was all about and how it just wears away at the fabric of our democratic society, that happening. And if we don't go after the folks who are responsible for that, how we open up the door for it to happen again. So, guys, your take on the whole thing.
Well, he was clearly trying to compare the two, which you can't. And he was clearly trying to, lessen and minimize the insurrection. I mean, that's like jumbo shrimp. How can you minimize an insurrection? You know what I'm saying? He called it a dust-up. Mm-hmm. Now, he clearly, blatantly showed his ignorance, and towards a lot of things. Now, for him to have no sensitivity towards our plight, what was really behind the riots and the protests and all that surrounding George Floyd, these are all the people that he has to coach. You know what I'm saying? He has to garner the respect of these men. He has to at least, empathize with them, which he showed none of. Now, the one thing he did do, I mean, obviously he clearly identified himself in his ignorance, but he did say, unlike a lot of these Trump type cats who he clearly identified himself as, but he said, let's talk. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he did open up the floor for people to educate him. So hopefully his peers, the players, the brothers in his circle, the brothers he have to work with, will educate him. Because he says, let's have a conversation. So somebody needs to educate that man. Mm-hmm. But he clearly, and blatantly showed his ignorance and lack of empathy.
Wes?
I just laughed. I mean, because I've dealt with that same type of conversation on several occasions with people who have tried to compare the two. Mm-hmm. And logically speaking, do I think a protest that ends in riots and stuff like that is appropriate? No, I don't think so at all, right? But I understand the proximate cause was over the killing of unarmed Black men, right? And the frustration that our fight is with this whole scenario. Mm-hmm. So to compare Trump not getting reelected to Black men being killed and saying it was a dust-up when 4 police officers died and other people were injured, and you had loitering, peeing, defecating politicians' offices. You had Hang Mike Pence. You had people actually had diagrams for other politicians that they were targeting, and for you to call it a dust-up is disgraceful, right? I'm not going to run around with a picket sign saying he shouldn't work anymore, but I know one thing, man. If these young boys out here, these young Black boys, don't start making a stand in terms of even making his life difficult, make him uncomfortable in every minute that he's coaching them. You don't got to take his job, but you got to make him feel what you feel, how you feel uncomfortable every day in your walk when you're around them. You got to make them feel that, mm-hmm. because they don't, that let's talk conversation. That's for TV. Mm-hmm. He don't want to talk. He's talking about logic. He doesn't want to have a conversation because that's what he said wasn't logical. So for us to sit here and try to give him a slight pass, because he knew exactly what he was doing, and he meant everything he said, and he doesn't want to have a conversation because anyone who says what he said doesn't want to have a conversation. That's like telling a woman, let's have a conversation about having a baby. You can't. So there's nothing to have a conversation about. They're not the same. There's nothing to talk about. He was trying to clean up what he already knew he started by saying, somebody educate me, let's have a conversation. You already been educated. This thing happened a year ago. Yeah. And you already have your feelings.
Yeah. Well, with the National Football League is 77% African American.
Yes, African American. You're leading Black men.
And it's been, and that ratio has been that way for the last 30 years?
It's been like that for a long time now. Right, but right. I just feel like some of these young guys, man, they just, like I heard a couple of them say that it doesn't affect me. I still got to play the game. And I'm like, I don't know how it doesn't affect you. I don't understand what your thought process, how it just doesn't affect you. I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, the point is Jack Del Rio's been in the NFL, 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
Right.
On the backs of these Black guys, these same people that they're killing.
Right.
That he's not paying attention to.
Right.
He's getting a paycheck because of the Black people that are around there.
Right. Now, and we know the conversation about lynching and Black people and the police, that's something that is centuries old. But definitely in the last 10 years, it's been like front and center.
Yeah, right there for you.
We've seen, whether it's Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, Mike Brown, Sandra Bland.
Yeah.
The list goes on and on and on. Castile, what's my brother? Fernando Castile, who was armed in Minnesota, legally armed, and legally armed, and that had you can slice and dice every scenario, every shot in the back, knee on the neck.
It's not just that. Like those things are so like clear cut, obvious, right?
Yeah. Well, just when we witnessed all of this happen in real time on TV over the last 10, 15 years, and it happening to, I would assume, some of your closest allies, relationship players, right? To extended family, brothers, sisters, and only now you want to have a conversation?
Yeah, you haven't had a conversation yet.
You didn't want to have a conversation 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
You want to have a conversation when they were kneeling? Like, didn't you want to have a conversation while they were kneeling? No, you didn't.
Have a conversation.
No, he actually was against the peaceful protests also. So I mean, but he's just that cat though. He identified himself in who he is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
my thing is they're all that cat.
Yeah, but then don't say let's have a conversation. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's already identified. He already told you who he was. So what you want to talk for?
Like the JJ Reddicks of the world are few and far between. The JJ Reddicks of the world are like the anomalies. Like Jack Del Rio isn't the anomaly. He's actually the constant.
He's the norm.
He's the norm.
Who identified himself.
And I want to see, not that I want to see more of these people exposed, but if we're really going to have the conversation, more of these people have to expose themselves.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. And they're not going to do it. Wes, we had a conversation earlier where you said it was a survey taken, and 77% of how many people here would work for a white boss.
Yeah. I was actually on a seminar today, about 400 people deep on a Zoom call, and they were just talking about, our moral compasses and the narratives and stuff that are set up for people. And they asked if you had to work with a black man or a white man, who would you want to work with? And 97% of the people indicated they'd work with the black man. And then they ran the numbers again when it actually was put into play. 97% of the people out of those, like they said, they typically get those same answers from most of these seminars, but when it's actually in place, 67% of the 97 want to work with the white. They actually work with the white man. So people don't want to be targeted or labeled or identified, so they'll answer a survey a certain way, but underneath the clothes, like a wolf in sheep's clothes, this is what people are and what they represent. So a lot of folks will say, even like when Hakim said the same thing about the Jane Elliott question about, all the folks that say they're allies, but then when you ask them would they want to trade places with a black person, they all back up. Nobody's available for comment because none of them want to replace that. None of them want to be treated like we're treated. Nobody does. Mm-hmm. So.
They all know that we are second and third class citizens here in this country. Like they know what it is. It's just the unspoken rule. So when presented with the option, I'm gonna fall back here. Like, well, you just told on yourself. You know things are screwed up for African Americans and people of color here in this country, but you do nothing about it. You just go along with the get along as long as you can get something out of it, or you think you can get something out of it, because a lot of racism, white supremacy is built on a false notion of superiority, a false notion of, as long as I'm white, I'm better. And, that said, it was, eye-opening for Jack Real to put his foot in his mouth, but we already knew what it was.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. We already knew who he was. and let's just move on. We
we
don't gotta fire him.
Well, to address that point, I was listening to Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max earlier, and Keyshawn said he didn't know he was like that, and he's known Jack Del Rio since he was like, since he was yep.
Yeah, he was hurt by this whole thing. He said he's been around that man since he was 7 years old. Mm-hmm. And he said it's real hurtful to hear his thoughts.
Yeah. You know, people ask, is this white person racist? That white person racist? My take is they're all racist. They all are. And we are too, but not in the way people think we are. Racism is white privilege, white supremacy. That's what racism is. Racism, the social construct called racism, was created to divide humanity up so darker skinned people of the world could be conquered. And white people too, because poor white people in the same boat. It's just that they picked the wrong side. But that's why racism was created, to codify white privilege, white supremacy. That's what racism is. Okay. We're all nurtured, we're all programmed, indoctrinated through the same school systems, through the same systems. So we're all racist against black people, brown people, people of color. Even black people, brown people, people of color are really racist against themselves because we perpetuate the systems that divide and conquer. Mm-hmm. If we can get some benefit out of it on the individual side, we'll play along, which just makes it that much harder to
break the cycle.
To break the cycle. So it doesn't surprise me Jack Del Rio thinks like this. I mean, I don't know him personally. Keyshawn does, so I get what he did. But I've had my own experiences with my so-called white friends, Cliff, Wes, you both know. Over the years, we have tons of, white associates and friends who will expose themselves. They'll slip up and say things that's like, oh, really? That's how you think? Okay, I got you. Put that, Now, when you're in football, in the football world, professional football world, it's so football-oriented, focused, that, I can see how people could bury themselves in that and not have these types of discussions that would expose themselves. Yeah. But I like to just, there is no benefit in doubt, so don't give them the benefit of doubt. I just assume they're all racist, just in varying degrees. I've met some very liberal, progressive. I like them. And then Joker will say something to be like, you too, huh? Oh, you really think that, huh? So,
well, it's the yeah, but. And that's kind of how it goes. Like, it is about experience, right? So again, definitely people want to be in your camp and support some of the things that we struggle with, right? And get behind it. But when it's, again, back to that TD Jakes, you don't pour something in someone's cup that they can't handle. You don't give them more than they can. A lot of them will have a pint cup. You can give them a pint worth of water, or a quart, or a gallon. But a lot of them can't handle a whole barrel, So once their cup is full, they can't drink no more. So and a lot of it is overwhelming for them. It's just a lot. And for anybody, and you take race out of it, because I think a lot of the behavior that we have with people is a human behavior, right? And for anybody who's done something wrong, especially a habitual liar, will believe the lie even more and perpetuate the lie because they have to hold on to it in order to be able to exist, right? And what do we have right now in this society? One big fat lie, right? That's what we got going on. Then you get to history, and as much history has been negative for African Americans or dark and brown people, when you look at their history, it's kind of tough to swallow too. That's why they have to tinker it and tailor it to make it look better than it really is. Because when you look back at it, the violence, the murders, the rapes, that's all them. That's how they became powerful, by doing that. Enslavement, slaughter, everything. So anytime you look back in history, that has to hurt too. Like I just sit here and say, we get all these movies that are true stories, and when do they ever look good? Unless it's like a fantasy or a superhero. That's fictional. So I mean, when it's a true story, it's always something whack. Like that they did something, dominating, stealing, cheating, lying, whatever it is, and then someone has to overcome. That's how it always is. It's the same story. Is that they never the stories never change. It's just a different obstacle that someone has to overcome. So, you know, I just with this guy, I just think that we need to keep him in his seat. We need to keep him close, and we have to do a better job of making them uncomfortable.
Yeah. Big shout out to JT. Big shout out to Thurman James. Salute. The brothers in the building. Let's stay in the NFL. 66, bro. 66 in 17 months. Talking about Deshaun Watson, the new revelations this week that you know, the brother had 66 different massage therapists over the course of 17 months, and he's up. Oh, wait a minute.
That's me.
So of the 66, you got 24
sexual assault allegations.
Lawsuits.
Lawsuits.
Not allegations, lawsuits. Now, I mean, obviously he's been excused criminally, but he got civilly. Now so of the 66 that they've identified, that's obviously about 35% that of his massages. Now, I guess they said per the lawyer's request, 15 of them, I guess, wrote him, glowing recommendations based on, you know, their interactions with him. But you got 35% lawsuits. Now, the Texans have now been brought into the as a defendant.
And if you remember months ago, I said that the teams have a network of masseuses, physical therapists, and they're probably orchestrating some of these interactions. I said that months ago.
Yeah, you did, and they clearly were, because they, I guess the one hotel, they basically set up all the sessions, and not only that, the head of security or someone on the Texan staff set up and or arrange for the NDAs to be passed out and collected and all of that. So their culpability is proven and on file.
So them going after him, because, you know, just for the backstory, Deshaun Watson, top 5 QB in the league statistically, but on a team that team-wise could never seem to cut the mustard. The organization itself, long history of just not being a solid organization, to the point where J.J. Watt forced himself out of there. Who's the running back, Foster, who ended up in Miami because of the organization, how they did business. And then Deshaun Watson was like, look, I'm out of here. I'll never play another down for this organization. And as soon as that happened is when these allegations surfaced. Mm-hmm. The lawyer representing the first batch of allegations just happened to live in the same private community as the owner of the Houston Texans. Mm-hmm. What a coincidence. What a coinky-dink.
How about the lawyer? How about both the defense lawyer and the prosecution are neighbors?
Well, how about the fact that they basically set up everything so they clearly knew what was going on? They probably just never thought they'd be dragged in on the back end.
Well, that's what I'm getting. That's what I was getting at. Like, you tipped. Now you're here and you got all this dirt on you. Like, what? Now, what does the Texans do as an organization? Because you're culpable, you're responsible. If you sue him, you gotta sue them too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
JT said framing, blackmail.
That's all
Question.
it is. Listen, when I was telling you today, Hakim, and I'll share with Cliff, a friend of mine called me up with the whole, well, he should, I said, do you know how many people in an 18-month period, when you were 23, 24 years old with no money in your pocket, how many young ladies you might have encountered in that time? And with no money in your pocket. This man has $40 million in his pocket. He's 24 years old, no children, no girlfriends. What do they want? What do they really want? It's not a crime. He didn't do anything that's a crime. I'm not going to entertain crime.
I'm not. Look, I know. We don't know if there was anything done. So we don't know if there was anything done. It just looks real suspect that these allegations were mute until boom. So it's like if he doesn't force his way, if he's not trying to force his way out of Houston, do we ever hear these allegations? So was the team blocking the allegations?
Of course.
Or were there no allegations? They were just created out of nowhere. There's a lot of, and just to your point, Wes, about 66 and that's too many and the numbers and so forth and so on. He's the king of Zamunda. Everybody saw the movie Coming to America. Hey. I gotta switch it up. Maybe we should talk about something else till Wes gets home.
Keep talking.
So, he's the king of Zamunda. We also are coming to America. And when you're of a certain stature or certain level in society, certain things just reign. Mm-hmm. It's like, man, it's hot out here. Let me turn on some rain. and the rain just poured. He's like, oh my God, this is wet. Shower me. The shower, walking around soaking wet. Now, if you lived in a place where it was 90 degrees humid every day, and you had the ability to turn on the faucet, and today you're gonna get some hard water, and you get some soft water, you're gonna get some. Today I'm gonna get purified water. Tomorrow I'm gonna get spring water. Next day I'm gonna get filtered water. I get to choose.
Electrolytes the next day.
And and he's in a different world. That's not to say that he's not capable of. That's just to say that he has the ability to not have to do those things, and he's a part of an organization that's willing to make sure the pipes is. We're gonna make sure you get nice running water when you need it. And we're finding out that's more and more the case with this case. Every week there's a new situation that just kind of confirms what we already know about this situation. And I got to make sure I brush up on my code words and my code talk.
Oh yeah.
So when you got an extra set of ears around,
it's all good, man.
Yeah, because what we don't want to do is give people passes for disrespect and for behavior that we don't, we wouldn't want. We don't want to co-sign.
We don't
certain
want
behaviors.
that to happen. But what I'm saying is, we had Rob Gronkowski in his early years after the first Super Bowl in some precarious situations, and they were like, "That's Gronk being Gronk." That's all I'm saying. He didn't do anything. Right there, they didn't do nothing about Rob Kraft. I agree with that. Like, Robert Kraft was in a brothel.
He was in a brothel. He was in a brothel.
No, it was a massage house in Florida, but
no. It was a massage house, but the workers were a part of a human sex trafficking ring.
Yeah.
So that's what it was.
it was like they was caught up in a sex trafficking sting, and he just happened to be there. So it was it's like when you go to Nostrand Avenue in Classen. You know what I mean? Like it's a grocery store, it's a bodega, but really it's a weed spot. You know what I mean? And we got the tie, we got this set up in the window, but you know what you're here for.
Yep.
Yeah, man. But Cliff, you was gonna say something.
Well, I just think that I don't know.
Trying to find the right words, huh?
Yeah. I mean, you know how
Wes got you on roll. Okay, got you on ice skates right now, huh?
Yeah. Speaking in code.
Say what you need. Say what you need, Cliff. Say what you need.
Cat got your tongue?
Yeah.
He said, yeah.
It's all clear. Say what you got to say. Go
All
ahead.
right, there you go. All right, Cliff, she's going. You speak freely. Cliff.
No, I'm just trying to remember what we were.
You talking about Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, well, see, that's just it. Like, I think that
get the nuts off.
You're comparing Gronk and comparing Robert Kraft. You're talking about, one event as compared to how they're again. All this is about the narrative, and the narrative is the 66 different appointments. And again, as you see, as this goes on, they're just diving deeper and deeper and deeper and trying to uncover, because now the New York Times comes up with, okay, we got a hold of his schedule, his appointment book, and you'll notice more and more details are going to come out. And then there's going to have other allegations of the defendants that, quote unquote, is part of the list that didn't file any lawsuits. Like this other chick who said that she didn't file a lawsuit, but during the session, after the third session, it became more and more uncomfortable, and he, quote unquote, was begging for sex. Again, that's what all these women are ultimately going to say, and it's going to end up being a he said, she said, whereas they're going to come out and said he did something inappropriate. And how this ultimately gets resolved, because there's so many allegations, and again, they're all civil. Mm-hmm. It's going to be very interesting. I don't know what's going to happen, because it doesn't look like none of this heat is simmering down, and we're going into the season, and it's a bad look for the NFL, yo. It's really a bad look.
Yeah.
It's a horrible look for the NFL. But again, the NFL has to be careful because there aren't criminal charges.
Right.
And you're setting the tone for people. I mean, can we say inappropriate behavior? I don't know. It just depends on who's saying is inappropriate, right?
And that's why it's going to keep coming down to he said, she said, because again, it's just going to be allegation after allegation after allegation, because I bet you what ends up happening is all from here on in, it's just going to be drips of more detail. And when is the right time for the NFL to actually punish him? Issue
but punish him for what? To try to get paid? Trying to get a little,
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
It's misconduct, yo. They have to cite some type of.
But what's misconduct about it when the team is giving you non-disclosure agreements? Like they got a system going here. Like listen, guys. We know how you guys like to woo. We have a nice network of people that girls who've been associated with it, whatever. and this is how we're going to handle it. We're going to make sure it takes place in a comfortable, reliable hotel, folks that we control. We're going to make sure you guys apply with NDAs so you can handle your business properly. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you going to punish Deshaun and not punish the Texans? And if you punishing the Texans, like, well, if you're going to give him a year suspension, what are you giving him? A year suspension?
It's going to be interesting. I mean, they're now in this. So
I'm going to go back to the misconduct thing.
Okay.
Again, what I need to understand, if Gronk can be Gronk, what is the misconduct? That's all I'm asking you. That's it. I mean, it's really what the number?
Because
I mean,
there's 24 lawsuits.
Okay, he had 24. His NDAs out there. He hasn't assaulted anybody. He is being ridiculed because of he had an erection. Let's just call it what it is. That's the disrespect part, and that's it. He didn't force himself on anybody. So again, we got to be careful about how we conduct ourselves in trying to explain what misconduct is, because if we're claiming guilt for something that is a young man's behavior and a young woman, for that matter.
Yep.
That's it. So I'm not gonna. I can't fall in line with. Well, that's a big number and yada. I don't know what I did in 18 months at 23 with $0 in my pocket. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that I did anything wrong because I didn't rape anybody. I didn't do any of that stuff. But I knew a lot of people.
Yo, let me ask you, hold on. It's like in your 20s, right?
Yeah.
In your 20s, your teens, your 20s, early 30s, how many times a day does the faucet come on? How many times a day does the faucet come on?
Especially with a woman touching you.
Right? So my thing is, like, 66 or this or that, or the number. Like, dude, if I was Hakim, Prince of Zamunda, and my faucet is coming on, dude, there's somebody with a glass of water. Somebody's with a glass of water right now. I don't have to pour my own glass of water. There's somebody right there going, baby, you want me to pour the water? Why? Because I'm Hakim, Prince of Zamunda.
Yeah. It's sad.
And it's not to say that he couldn't have sexually assaulted. It's not to say that, but there's a reason why there's no criminal charges.
That's what I'm saying. Because if he did any of that, even came close, there would be a charge.
Hey, I'm getting in late on this. The man really hasn't done anything wrong.
No.
I mean, I still haven't figured out what has he done wrong. Like you said, Hakeem, he got an erection during a massage, which is it happens.
That's what happens during a massage.
Because you're so relaxed, it's a sensual, body touching, it happened. What did this man do wrong?
Well, the allegations is that he was throwing himself at this woman. He was making these women feel uncomfortable at some point. And that's what the allegations are. That's what I'm saying.
But all those allegations got thrown out. There's no criminal charges. So he essentially hasn't done anything wrong.
Well, when you got crying women on TV, you got crying women on TV.
Well, let me tell you this story. Let me tell you this quick story. So it's one New Year's Eve. I'm hanging out with a friend of mine. And my friend disappears. Don't know where the brother is. He's lost his big Tavern on the Green. Y'all know about Tavern on the Green. It was the last party at the Tavern on the Green, right before they closed down. Just my New Year's Eve party was off the chain. It was off the rip. God, I wish you guys could have been there. So me and another friend of mine, we walking around, whatever, we looking for the third person, what have you. Can't find the brother. Brother's in the mix. We finally, hours later, we see the brother over there, right? And he's Wes, right? So my friend and we was like, Hakim, look at Cliff. Oh, my bad. So we go over there, and the chick he up on, she's got a date. Man, this dude was like he played for the Cleveland Browns. This dude was like 6'6", big brolic dude. And he's about to hook off. I'm like, I jump in. Nah, my man, this is New Year's. He's feeling himself. He's at the pinnacle of celebration right now. He's gonna be all right, right?
The pinnacle of celebration.
I'm not trying to blow you up too much. We separate the people. We separate the men, right? We talking to the dude. This dude got a friend that got a bottle. I go grab a bottle. I'm standing like, yo, we gonna just be hooking off. I turn around. Your man is on the next joint. That was criminal.
Oh, no.
Yo, man, how we got out of there alive, I do not know. Oh my God, that was a crazy night. So, if it was, not to say it has to be that, my man Cliff, he didn't touch nobody, he didn't assault, like physically assault anybody. Don't get it twisted. I ain't trying to put my man out there like that. That didn't happen. Mm-hmm. But you in the moment, you trying to crack. You know what I mean? You got an erection. You say something left. You say something, or because the first chick, the Asian masseuse, she said he got an erection, and her hand touched his penis. Like she touched him. Right. He didn't touch her. She touched him.
Mm-hmm. So she assaulted him.
She assaulted him.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So it's
when we start criminalizing erections or suing for erections, we going down a dangerous path, man. A really dangerous path. It's a natural bodily occurrence. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think the whole thing is a bunch of BS with the Texans. The Texans should get some sort of repercussions because they facilitated all of this. Mm-hmm. From the article I read, they were setting up the massages.
Yep.
Yeah.
And giving the NDAs.
And they blew the whistle on their own player. That's the bottom line.
Right, because he wanted to leave. So there's some accountability that has to take place with them as well.
Yes, totally agree. 1,000%. I want to say two things before we guys move on. You guys can add on if you want. Two things. The first thing is, if you hang around a cesspool, you're bound to get shit on.
100%.
Brothers and sisters.
Yep.
Right? Because we really have to learn to protect women. We have to learn to honor and cherish womanhood and the mothers of the future, because that's what they are. They're the mothers of the future. So we got to deal with women. I think, my personal opinion, we should deal with women in that way, as the mothers of the future, right? It takes some years of experience to learn that, and okay, cool. Brothers, you can get all the P you want, but you're in the cesspool when you live your life like that. And it just takes the wrong person, the wrong circumstance, the wrong situation for the blowback, the blowback, no pun intended. Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Travel carefully out there, brothers. The second thing I want to highlight is the stark contrast in the media's coverage of the Deshaun Watson situation versus the physical therapist doctor who raped, sexually assaulted all of those gymnasts over, I don't know if it was decades, but over years.
Decades.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And has been protected by Senator Jim Jordan from Ohio. Right. Protected by school administration, school administrators, the hard time these ladies received in getting justice and getting some type of restitution for their heartache and trouble is a crazy contrast. And not to mention Brett Favre's dick pics that he was sending around that was hot news for like 3 days and it went away.
Well, how they did even with Ben Roethlisberger. They tucked him away for 2 years or 3 years. No interviews, just kept it quiet. They still talk about Michael Vick's dogfighting when they talk about Michael Vick, and they don't even talk about Ben Roethlisberger ever.
Or Peyton Manning sexually assaulting
or
that
Peyton
woman.
Peyton Manning was and he was threatening a woman.
Yeah, he got her fired from 2 jobs over his indiscretion.
Yeah, his indiscretion.
Right.
But
the one that's most relevant is Robert Kraft, who got the happy ending.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. JT's been mentioning that the whole show.
Yeah, I think the other one that we need to talk about was I think the worst one over Kraft was when your man had $40K in a briefcase at 2:30 in the morning on the highway with cocaine in his front seat. Irsay, the owner of the Indianapolis Colts. Where was he going?
To a hell of a party.
He got a briefcase full of money, cocaine in a front seat, and nothing happened.
Is he still the owner of the Colts?
Yes.
Yeah, whatever. Nothing happened. Nothing happened.
He got suspended. He couldn't,
go to a game.
Couldn't go to a game. He couldn't act in his role as the owner of the team. He kind of had to distance himself for like a year or 2. But what is that like? That's nothing.
Yeah, smack on the wrist.
That gave him more time to do more deals, apparently.
Yeah.
And although I think that all white people are racist, including Jim Irsay, I happen to like Jim Irsay. I don't think he's coke aside. I don't think. I ain't trying to castigate the man. I'm not trying to condemn Jim Irsay. I'm looking for some equity.
That's all I'm saying.
Equity. There you go.
It's equity.
That's all you want.
Yeah. Not just us. Just come on now.
Yeah, man.
He was just going to party in Broad Ripple. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all know nothing about what y'all know about Broad Ripple?
I don't.
In Naptown, yeah. It's a part of Indianapolis.
Wow. Okay. All right. Yeah. Oh man, so what else do we have going on in the world of sports, off the court, off the field, off the
We got the finals.
Before the finals, we got one more topic we got to talk about, and that's the PGA.
Oh, that live tournament?
The live tournament.
Yeah.
And I have to apologize. I got so caught up last week that I just kind of lost track of everything. And I did play. I want to say, because we talking about golf, I did play, but I came in 3rd in the B flight.
Nice.
Good job.
It was a big improvement from the year before when I just kind of wet the bed completely.
Yeah, we were supposed to get that live coverage.
I know.
So we can celebrate.
Did Stan Verrett play this year?
Stan played.
He didn't win.
He didn't win his flight. He was, I forgot the gentleman who won that flight, and then my roommate, one of the guys in my room, he won the C flight, but we protested because we don't think he should have been in the C flight. He should have been higher with us, but that's okay. But yeah, it was a good time. But we were talking about the tournament, the LIV tournament, and the PGA, and the PGA sent a letter out today, discussing the players who are, taking money over loyalty type stuff, and it was one of the most bitter letters you're gonna read from some folks who. Go ahead, Hakim.
No. Before you discuss the letter, give
Yep.
us the backstory.
Okay.
The PGA, this LIV tournament that's in Saudi Arabia, so folks know what we're talking about.
Greg Norman, a former PGA #1 player in the world back in the day, he started a league called the LIV, the LIV tournament, which is all over the country and the world really. And what they do different than the PGA is that they have tournaments that last for 3 days and there's no cut, right? So, and you get paid for appearances or just joining the league. So what they did was they reached out to 17. They reached out to a lot of golfers, but 17 golfers decided to take the bait. And Dustin Johnson got $125 million for signing with them, just for being in the league. And Phil Mickelson got, they're thinking upwards of $300 million. The rumor is that Tiger's made an offer in a high 9-digit offer. And so the PGA losing some of its players, they don't want that to happen. But like Phil Mickelson said, the PGA on these major events, the players only get about 20 to 27% of the revenue that comes in. So that's 70 to 80% of the money. Where's it going? Because if the players are only getting about 27%, where's the other money going, right? So in this situation, they get to play for a large purse, but they're getting like Dustin, he got $125 million just for joining the league. Wow. It's like almost signing a what do you call it deal?
A guaranteed NBA deal.
It's like a speaker deal.
That's like
so that's kind of the big story. But the PGA, they look like hypocrites because it's the same association that didn't want a lot of people to play. Excluding people, right? Black and brown, yeah. And black and brown people had to wait till the 70s and 80s to even get in. And then for even a guy like Tiger, they forget that Tiger Woods took golf to the level that they're at now from 92 into the present. That's all Tiger Woods. So we can act like, golf is this pristine sport, but that man put billions of dollars in people's pockets by his presence and by his success. That guy, not the guys before him, that guy. So, and the guys after him are still eating, and they're eating well because of him. So they are just really hypocritical, but they're like acting like somebody took their basketball at the basketball court, that they're acting like spoiled brats. But it's just funny how when you touch this money, it goes right back to that Deion Sanders situation with Coach Saban. They don't want a nickel of it getting out of the spot. That's why these clubs are so exclusive when it comes to the ownership, because they do not want a penny of that money getting outside the club. And we can keep on thinking it's different, but that's the bottom line. That money and that power is all that is about.
Yeah.
Period.
And because the PGA is a monopoly, they want to hold on to it. They want to hold on to every nickel and dime they can. And if they let these guys out, Phil said, it's just good to have competition because they didn't have any leverage before, the players. Now they have leverage. So the PGA is threatening to kick them out of they can't play in majors and stuff like that. But these guys don't care about that stuff. Tiger don't care about, remember y'all said Jack's record is hollow. You can't catch him. Okay, let me go get this $500 million and Jack can't catch that. Mm-hmm. So, and for me, I'm just disgusted to see Lee Elder when he was hitting the ceremonial ball and he on a respirator. And that was the first time he ever hit a ball at the Masters for ceremony. You know what I'm saying? On a respirator. That's just disgusting.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Well, let's stay right here with this conversation. But the idea, we talk about narratives all the time, the narratives. And we look at PGA, these narratives that golf is this thing. The people who are associated with golf are these types of people, the upper crust, high level, the power brokers, and they look to keep power concentrated in the hands of those few people. And then when you get what's going on in Saudi Arabia, right, that threatens the narrative, or it threatens the control of power, because you can make all this money doing the very same thing, but now black and brown people are paying you.
Yeah.
It switches the narrative. So now that these white players are getting decided, you know what, we want to get this money from these brothers over here in Saudi Arabia. Salam alaikum. Now it's, oh, you're not patriotic, you're not a real American. This is the PGA now attacking these players and trying to create narratives around their legitimacy as Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because these are the things that black and brown people have had to deal with our entire existence here in America, just to get the crumbs being offered.
Yeah.
Not offering.
It ain't no crumbs with this live. They paying top dollars. These persons are big, yo. And that's why these players are taking the bait. And all in all, it's good. It's good for golf, I think, because
I think so too.
The PGA needs competition, and you the top flight players. I mean, not a ton of them going over, but what about these mid-level players? What about these cats struggling to get and keep their PGA cards? Now they have an option. What about the caddies? They basically said, I saw a ESPN special with Mike America's caddy on it, and he was saying now over in Live, the caddies, not only do they get their purse, which he said are crazy, which are numbers that they never get over here, but they have their hotels paid for, their food paid for, their travel paid for, all of that through the tour. And it's something that the PGA doesn't do. So the competition and a different option, I think, is only better for and you can see they're wrong by how they're fighting this.
Yep, that's it.
You can see.
It reminds me of the Nick Saban thing.
Yeah.
It's the same exact thing. Is you figured it out and they're like, okay, we can't have anybody else cross this line because this will start it'll be just a long line of people leaving the PGA. But they need competition and it's healthy. So good for the players, man. And if they're not paying these caddies like that, and Phil Mickelson is saying that 27% go back to the players, and all that responsibility comes out of their pocket, where's all that money going? It's just like the NCAA. Same thing.
Like the NCAA.
Same thing, man.
Yeah. E, you want to add on?
I mean, it's just golf has been, I think JT just said it, it's a country club, and it's been that way for a long time. And now there's some jokers with more money that can open up, to various people. And I think the significant thing is actually the money that the caddies can get paid now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because they do I think it's overlooked the job they do for many of the golfers and how they help their games. They're, many times coaches on the course for them.
Yep.
So that's a beautiful thing. And I think anything that opens up competition, man, is always good.
It's healthy.
Well, that's the thing about America. That's what I was raised in, this capitalist world we live in. Is that
that's the old
competition? Well, that was always the lie, actually.
Yeah.
That was the lie is that it's the free market system is based on competition. And if you build a better mousetrap, the world will lead a house to your door. Like all these little sayings that we're groomed and raised on here in America, and it's just lies, because the people who control power here don't ever want competition.
No.
They want to control the narrative, control the game itself, so they're always in power. And when the just to off on a tangent, and while we see January 6th, the insurrection happen, while we see these right-wing groups scared to death, is because globalism and the international access that we have now threatens their control. Yeah. Now you're talking about competition with the PGA, not just the PGA, it's everything. And when you have Saudi Arabia, you have Chinese, you have Europeans, you have a lot of rich, powerful Africans.
Yeah. Who can't be controlled.
Who can't be controlled. Right.
Yeah.
That threatens the power brokers here in America.
Yep.
So they want to keep us thinking like local, which is important because all politics are local. However, let's not be afraid of globalization. That the New World Order, the Illuminati, all these things are created to scare you away from globalization, because as Black and brown people, that's where our power is really at.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
The PGA, these golfers are all white, and but it's just a door that's being opened in Saudi Arabia, and it's going to lead to other doors opening, whether it's basketball doors or soccer doors or tennis doors, or there's all different types of doors where there's more of us involved, and we can take benefit of it if we think globally, as well as locally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my
just to be clear, it's only, I want to say, one event in Saudi Arabia. Most of the events are either in Europe or in the States.
Yeah.
It's just who's funding the tour. So
they're just funding it. That's all they're doing.
Yeah.
They're like, they got the Arab money.
mm-hmm.
I didn't even like this Buster said it. Buster said playing golf in something. I think he said it in the desert, playing golf somewhere. He had a rhyme, a rap to it or something.
Oh yeah.
Yep. In that song.
I want to shout my boy out, Uno the Prophet, who made a diss record to A-Rap Money called Zionist Money. In it, he's going at Buster, but he's going at all the rappers who've been getting that Zionist money. It's just, don't check it out, y'all. It's called Zionist Money by Uno the Prophet.
Okay.
It's a take on A-Rap Money, which is a hot song. Buster's my man. Salute to the brother. Buster Rhymes, you already know.
Buster Bus.
But Uno the Prophet kind of put you in check, bro. I'm just here to tell you. That Zionist money. Yes, sir. Okay. Wait a minute. Before we get to the NBA. MLB, before we move on to the NBA.
Yankees doing their thing.
Yankees looking good, man.
They're getting smacked right now.
And we can't talk Yankees without talking Mets.
What's the score right now?
It's 6-3. Cole done giving up 4 home runs in 2 innings.
Wow.
Wow. What they doing? This is a doubleheader, right?
Nah, it's the first game. One game tonight.
One game. Yes, that was yesterday because they lost yesterday, right?
8-1 yesterday.
8-1. Yeah. Wow. All right, let's pick it up, Yankees. You got to hold on to that first place spot, man.
They're 35 games over 500. So I mean, they're good.
Hey, bro.
They balling.
Yeah, they balling.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're on record. They're on record pace. Pitching is coming together. I mean, they just gotta stay healthy. If they stay healthy, they should be fine. They have the talent. They have the pitching. The pitching has been unbelievable. I can't believe Cole is getting smacked like this. I mean, they've all been so hot. I mean, you gotta. I guess it's gonna regress to the mean. I guess a little bit. They can't stay this hot, but they good.
Yeah, they good.
Nice. So, NBA, Golden State Warriors, Boston. Boston's up 2-1. Boston looked really, really good in that first game. Golden State came and looked really, really good in that second game. Balanced it out. Went to Boston. Boston, I thought it was gonna be a rout, but that third quarter for Golden State, got them back in the game. They just wasn't able to really pull it out in the fourth. We've been seeing Steph kind of struggle in the fourth. Clay's been struggling the entire series. We still waiting for, he did a little better yesterday. But
He showed up last night.
He had
showed 25
up last night. Right,
Yeah.
but it's still early on. He was not clicking. He wasn't clicking early on. We ain't seen Clay really, give us that Klay Thompson game we've been waiting for, really. Draymond has been taking a lot of heat. I think
he was booty yesterday. Well, he was booty game 1 and yesterday. He only played one good game so far.
Yeah, but when people say he's booty, because I see him do a lot of things that just aren't going to make the stat line, not going to make the paper, that really adds to their effectiveness as a team. The way he, when he runs that point, he runs the break. If I'm bugging, I'm bugging. I know you got some true blue Laker fans on here that just in love with Magic Johnson, and I don't want to be blasphemous to the panel.
No.
But I see some Magic Johnson-esque in Draymond Green, especially when he's running the break and he's pointing and he's kind of controlling the show. I think that, his antics and him trying to be the roughhousing and trying to play the mental game, I think is overshadowing what he should be doing. The more tangible aspects of his game are being overshadowed. But he needs to step up. I think they could be playing Looney a little bit more. But I still think Golden State could pull us out. What you guys feeling?
They need to. Well, Dre definitely needs to step up, because yesterday, I think he only had 2 points, but I think it was one of the few times in his career where he had single-digit points, assists, and rebounds. I think that only totaled 9. So he had and he fouled out. So without a technical. So he was in his own head, and they were saying how it was that Boston crowd, yo. It was those fans, because they get at you. They will. Boston fans will get at you, yo.
I'm going to disagree with you and agree with you. What you said first was Draymond was in his own head.
Because of the Boston fans.
No, I don't think it's because of the Boston fans. I think because Draymond is running his mouth too much and trying to live up to him running his mouth. Mm-hmm. I don't think it was the boss. It's the Cedric Maxwell beef. It's the his podcast.
It's the old school, new school beef. When you run around the court, and this I have like JJ Redick. I think JJ Redick is great, and this goes right back to Draymond. I love what JJ Redick does on ESPN in terms of challenging Stephen A. Smith, but his argument about how we run around, the old generation runs around criticizing his generation, and it's getting corny and boring. A, y'all make $47 million and you got load management. B, you don't want to play defense because he said, you can have your little 74, 72 games in the playoffs if that makes you happy. That's what he was trying to criticize, like saying that's what the games were back in the day. That's not true. And nobody back in the day ever was talking about they were doper than somebody else or better. Naming names. I'm better than Dennis Rodman. I'm the king. That made me the best. They didn't do it. I know you say social media is part of it, but it's corny. It's corny.
Right.
Like nobody wants to hear that. They just want you to go out there and perform. And when you got guys like Magic and Bird who set the tone for guys like this to make $47 million, and they were making $500,000 and playing every game and playing on both ends, it's hard to respect what you're seeing out there now. That's all it is.
Yeah. But the JJ Redick's, I didn't really hear his argument
his argument was that we criticized that generation.
To Draymond Green, right?
And Draymond Green too.
The time management, the load management, I can get with that 1,000%. Everything else I can't get with, because technology, social media, access to media. When you say nobody wants to hear that, no, everybody wants to hear that, except for the select few, yourself, people who are more, have a stronger connection to the game. But when you hear, the podcasters, the talking heads, the folks like us on this show, casting their opinions, and it's not like a day in time. You had Warner Wolf, you had Marv Albert, you had now everybody's
Warner Wolf. Wow.
Everybody.
Let's go to the videotape.
Yeah, right. Like,
Wish.
the sports. The sports segment on the news was 5 minutes. Now the news is sports, and so it's and then how can I say, we look at the NBA, especially. NBA got real with Michael Jordan. I mean, Larry Bird and Magic, yes. But when we get to Mike and through the 90s is when the NBA it really matters. It really, in the 80s it didn't matter. You saw
but it did. They did that. They used to be on tape delay until Magic and Bird came.
Yeah.
The CBS games were on at 11:30, an hour after they were being played. And then when you had that East Coast, West Coast, white, black, it became this big thing because it was Bird and Magic. And then Jordan stepped on the scene and just took it to another level, right? But they started something that was real. That wasn't like no one cared. I think a lot of people cared in the 80s. Yeah. Dr. J became even more famous because of those two guys.
Right, but no.
And also remember, the NBA changed from the NBA to NBA Entertainment. That's their official name for all these games. When you watch a game now, at the end, it says NBA Entertainment.
It absolutely does.
It no longer says NBA.
Right.
NBA Inc. or whatever it used to be.
Yeah, it's entertainment.
So that's what it is. And I agree somewhat about Draymond, him being a talking head as a player. I don't know if you should go do a podcast after a game, before a game, during the game. No. I love the guys who are doing podcasts.
Save that for the off season, bro.
Yeah.
Steve Jackson, Shaq has one.
Save it for the off season, save it for retirement.
But yeah, those guys, they're great because their perspective as former players, their understanding. I just don't think it's certain things you should do
as a player
while you're playing.
Yeah.
I agree.
Certain things you're opening yourself up to that the public shouldn't know, and that should be saved for the locker room.
Yep.
And I believe that Draymond is, and I like him as a basketball player.
I do too.
But I think he's a clown overall. It's taken away from Golden State and what they can actually achieve.
Yeah.
He's the key to the series, though. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah,
he's the key. He has to bring that intensity, that defensive fire, and be the head of the snake and control everything for them to stay in this series, because they're about to get a gentleman swept if they don't win this game.
But he has to be smart in how he goes about it.
I think he'll win this.
I think he's going that extra mile now.
I think he's playing up to his own creation.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Celtics, they're not scared. These young boys aren't going to back down. And that's where
that's the real problem.
Yeah,
the Celtics players aren't those guys. Like Draymond, your stick is corny. These dudes are looking at you like you corny. Dude, just go out there and play basketball. That's all you got to do. Don't be a clown show. Just play basketball.
Yeah, I posted. I said, I want to see Golden State win the series, but I really want to see Jaylen Brown whoop Draymond's ass. When he put his feet on his head, I was like, "Yo, you need to whoop his ass for that." Bro.
Yeah,
come on, bro. Stop it.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's corny.
It's real corny. Then he pulled his shorts down. Come on, what are we doing, bro? Stop it.
Yeah,
but Dennis Rodman was the king of the same type of behavior.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, but did you see any of that behavior this last game? No, and they got blown out. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you did. He was doing the same stuff.
Yeah, he was doing the same
Draymond.
He had zero texts. He had zero
effectiveness.
They're letting him go, but he's doing he's consistent with his antics. Like it's bullshit. Yeah. Like Draymond, stop. It's corny. Like the whole putting your leg on Jalen's head. Come on, bro. We don't need that. And he did something to Jason Brown, like something to say he fouled and was on lean all on him, lay on him. Come on, bro. Stop that, man. Stop.
You're so right, Wes. It is really just corny. And
Yeah,
I don't want to watch a game where I'm rooting for the opponent to punch a guy in the face.
yeah. Like we want to watch basketball. We don't want to watch we don't want to root for them to fight. You know what I'm saying?
Like I really just want Udoka put in Theus or whatever his name is, just so he can punch him in the face. You know, somebody who is irrelevant to the rotation. Go in there and just punch dude in the face, and we'll pay your fine. Because it's not basketball. It's not even entertainment. And even when
it's not effective.
It's not effective. It's not.
It's not effective.
When Rodman
not in this series.
If he went too far, Mike would pull him to the side. All right, that's enough.
Michael did this. Yo, man. Remember, he was the first dude. You see Mike in the huddle. With his shirt on his mouth. He walking out at halftime, talking to Scotty like this. Come on, Mike. What we doing, bro? Chill, Mike. We don't need all that.
Yeah.
Stop it, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what I think. I think Steph or Clay or whoever would be like, yo, Draymond, do what you do well as a player, and we'll be effective. But all this, because it's not getting under. It's meant to get under the Celtics player's skin, and it's not working. They built for it,
man. They built for this. Listen, I know everybody. I was just on a golf tournament with 48 dudes, and 47 of them have the Golden State Warriors. And it was in a room. We were a bunch of us, and they were down 15 in the fourth quarter, going into the fourth in the game one, and I was the only one saying, "Lockdown time."
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. I expected Golden State to win game 2 because they're going to play desperate. They home. They're going to play desperate. Boston got what they wanted. Me personally, I can honestly see this not going to Golden State not winning another game. That's me personally.
I can
see it. I can see it because I still don't see nobody on Golden State. Because let me tell you, Marcus Smart and the kid, what's his name? The light-skinned dude, the backup point guard?
Derek White.
Derek White. They had 27, 24, and 23 between them in game 1. Right? And a little, what's the little guy? Pritchard?
Yeah.
There's only three guys on that court that got to be guarded by one of the Golden State Warriors. And if those dudes are scoring 24 and 23, and yesterday they had 38 combined, those 3 dudes, and your man's got 31, that means he's a -7. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well,
those dudes can't get off.
I'm thinking because Clay is getting good looks at the basket.
Yeah.
And Clay is a lot of his shots are rimming out, like they're in and out.
But you know why that is, Hawk? It's because he's got to guard those bigger guys on the other end. Yeah. His legs aren't there, and he's not ready for that. He's been out for 2 years.
I got you. I hear you, but it's not like his shots are short or they're long.
No. What I'm saying is
like lipping out. Like I think he's gonna catch a groove. He's gonna fall back in the groove where it's like, all right, it's water. It's
and
because he's there. He's getting better. It's like
Clay's
he's right
better.
There. It's just shots aren't.
What I'm saying is that they're not going to be Brown and Tatum aren't going to get smaller.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's a bad matchup from that perspective to me because where they attack you, all they have is Wiggin and possibly Draymond because Boston is a big team. Yeah. And they only have 3 little guys. And that's what I'm trying to say is like where if Boston is engaged defensively, I don't see it happening. They just got to be engaged. That's it. Golden State can't stop them.
We keep talking about Clay. Clay has been getting better in every series.
Yeah, he has.
And in every game this series, too.
The guy who I think is having a real issue with the physicality and size is Poole.
It's Poole, yeah.
He can't do anything against Boston. And I don't think Kerr is willing to play Kuminga right now. He
got to play him. If he don't play Kuminga, they're going to lose the series. That's the key. If you play Kuminga, the series is over. They'll win. It's over for them.
Okay, can I add on, Wes?
Well,
I think they need to play Kuminga and play Looney more. And
Yeah.
Draymond
I agree.
Got to go
I
bigger
agree.
and stronger.
Yeah.
Iguodala can't do it anymore. Those legs are old,
Right.
and so you need a Kuminga to go with Wiggin against those two dudes.
Yep.
If you put Kuminga and Wiggin against those two dudes, now you have the upper hand. But if you keep throwing Poole out there the way you throwing him out there,
yeah,
it's not gonna work.
And sitting Steph down when Steph is fucking hot as fish grease, and you sitting him down. Why?
Yeah, well, he had four fouls, and he kind of had to take him out that one.
Well, in the first half. No, in the first half.
First half.
He set him down. He was
game
on fire.
In game one,
he was on fire. He set him down.
Killing.
Yeah, even yesterday.
We got to also worry about Steph and that leg, because I don't know if there's been up.
I think it'd be all right.
Almost 300 pounds falling on you. Hopefully.
Yeah, but the fact that he played,
he'd be all right.
He played out a couple days rest. He gonna be all right. That was
game four is Friday.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Friday night. Okay. Yeah.
We're seeing strategy too from the coaches.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And who isn't? And it's like you said, Wes. It's going to be key to what Kerr does. Does he play Kuminga? Does he play Looney more? Does he go small? With say Draymond at the 5, play Kuminga, Wiggins, Clay, and
Steph.
And
that's the 5 he has to play. But Kerr is going to be loyal, right? He want to go with the cast that got him there. So I get it, but I really and I don't doubt that he may make the adjustment, because I think Kuminga's gonna come into play.
Yep.
But I hope it's not too late, because that's the way. To me, that's the only way, because Marcus Smart, Pritchard, and the other kid, the backup guard, they already know they can get whatever they want.
Yeah.
They can get whatever they want. Whenever they feel like getting it, they can get it. And so that's already there. If the only thing they got to worry about with them is that they don't take shots. Derek White and Marcus Smart, they don't force shots, but they can get any shot that they want, right?
And they've been taking open shots too. That's the crazy part.
And then the two, Brown and Tatum, they can get any shot they want, because Wiggins can't hold both of them.
Yeah.
Because Wiggins did a great job on Tatum in game 1. He was 3 for 17.
Yeah, and offensively, Wiggins got to step up, and I think eventually he will.
Well, it also goes back to that thing of being physically able to play both sides of the ball. It takes, especially for a player like Wiggins, who is so athletic. When he has to play defense the way he does, it's going to take away from his legs, his shot.
Yep.
And he's been fine, because he's been averaging about 18, but you really need like 25 from him.
Yeah,
but
25
because he's doing so much defensively, it's hard. But it's going to come down to these fourth quarters, because we've already seen Golden State can dominate in the third. Mm-hmm. So if they can parlay that into playing at least a decent fourth quarter, then they're going to be in the game. And this game 4 is must win. This is, because if they go down 3-1, even going back to Golden State, I mean, it's a wrap.
And look, in basketball, every coach during halftime makes adjustments. And Kerr has made the better adjustments, and you've seen Golden State do really well in the third quarter. Mm-hmm. If Boston tomorrow comes out in that third quarter and just holds even,
they in trouble. Yeah. They in trouble. That's what I'm saying, because they scored 11
points
in the
fourth quarter anyway. So
they scored 11 points yesterday in the fourth quarter. They scored 15 in game 1 in the fourth quarter. Boston gets in it in the fourth quarter. If they close, and they were up 15 in the fourth, going into the fourth quarter in game 1. Yep. So if Boston is close and they can withstand the third quarter barrage that's going to come, and the numbers are showing what they show. I mean, your man is what, 1 for 12 or 1 for 10 in the fourth quarter? Steph?
Yeah. Now, to that point, earlier in the year, I thought Steph would hit a wall. And during the season, it didn't look like he was hitting any walls. But we get to the playoffs in the fourth quarter. It seems like he hits that wall.
No, I don't think he's hitting the wall. I don't think he's hitting the wall. I think that's just the accumulation of physical basketball that happens. I don't think he's hitting the wall at all.
It's the total of these games because they're leaning on him being physical with him by fourth quarter. It's just
too much.
He hasn't had to deal with that in the Western Conference playoffs at all.
At all. He run around free in the playoffs in the West. And you get to
have all these big, long bodies. They're just more physical. It's about the physicality.
Yep. That's all it is.
When it comes down to the fourth quarter, Boston is so much bigger than them. That's where the problem lies. That all of them are exhausted. All of them are tired. And both of you hit it on the head. If Steve Kerr doesn't find a way to get Kuminga minutes, they don't have enough able bodies. They don't. They're just short-handed.
Even Pritchard, who's I think the shortest of the bunch, he's still a strong kid.
Yeah, he's active, energetic.
Yes,
he's challenging the paint. He's driving. He's driving the ball. Creating opportunities for others.
With Boston, man, they just got a bunch of strong, young, active kids who not afraid, can't be bullied, talk they shit. It's a different kind of basketball than what Golden State has seen throughout the whole playoffs. Like they saw the young boys in Memphis, but that was a little different.
Memphis was different.
The shooters got to come out. I mean, listen, Curry's gonna average his 30, but Clay needs to show up.
If Clay show up and give you a 35, 40-point game along with Steph's 27, 28, 30 points.
It's a different story.
It's a different story. And that's why I'm saying, like, with Clay, I can't sleep on Clay. Like,
I'm not sleeping on him.
He's getting open shots. He's getting the shots he wants. They just don't fall early for him.
We're almost close to Game 5 Clay anyway. So again, but he's getting there anyway. He had 25 last game. He's gonna have a better performance.
I expect him to have a good game. I don't doubt that he's gonna have a good game. Like the only thing I think he said that I disagree with is Looney, because in this series, Looney can't be effective guarding Al Horford. Looney needs to be around the basket. Al Horford can play all over the court, and you have to match those two up. And Al Horford can step out, and when you move Looney from the basket, he's just not effective. He's actually a detriment to them because you got
in there when
they got Williams in there. When they have Williams in there, you put Looney in. But when you have Horford in there, he hurts you on defense because Steph can't guard anybody, and now his man gets around, and Looney's not in the paint to protect the paint. That's why they're going right to the basket.
Yeah. And that's when Draymond has to play Horford. You bring in Kuminga.
Yep.
That's the adjustment.
That's the adjustment.
I don't know. Maybe I put it on Twitter.
With Looney. Yeah, with Looney, it's just he's a rebound machine.
But not when he's away from the basket.
But not when you're away from the basket. I got you.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying in this series, because in the Dallas series he was a maniac. But in this series, he comes to be a little bit of a detriment because Horford has a different style of game. Yeah. He brings you away from the basket.
And I also, I'm not disagreeing with you, Wes, but Looney's energy and effort, quiet though. Like he's not Draymond, but he's giving you that same he's just so quiet with his work ethic, but it's constant. It's he's always working. If he loses this time, he's gonna win next time. He's a battler.
He's a battler. It's infectious.
Yeah,
so,
and I don't see him make the wrong decisions too many times during the course of the game.
Yeah, he just has to be in matched up against Williams, though. It can't be against Horford.
Yeah, and, where Kuminga makes and Wiggins, they make decisions sometimes like that. Why'd you do that?
I don't think you need them to have the ball though. If you got Draymond at the 5, Kuminga at the 4, Wiggins at the 3, Clay at the 2, and Steph at the 1, the ball doesn't even really have to hit Kuminga's hands unless he's rebounding or it doesn't. He's not going to be a focal point of the offense. Ball will be in Draymond and Steph's hands. And that's how it should be anyway. They got to make that adjustment. And Kuminga just has to be that active guy on the boards, attacking, being aggressive. And that's it.
And just playing that defense and making it hard for Tatum and Brown.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because Brown is killing them right now.
Well, to that point, Jason Tatum, the next Kobe Bryant, Jason Tatum, the superstar.
Light skin is in, man. Light skin is in.
Word. Big up to the light skin. Big up light skin. Albie Shores on there. I mean, Chris Williams is out there. Yeah. But JB, I think, is the most important person on that team.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown, me too.
Jaylen Brown, yeah.
I think when Jason Tatum was questioning his leadership, he didn't say this, but he probably meant that JB might be better suited to be the leader of that team.
Yeah.
Because JB is focused, he's serious, he doesn't get distracted, he doesn't get rattled. I mean, he doesn't always give you the numbers you're looking for, but the effort is always 1,000%. And 9 times out of 10, he's going to give you what you're looking for from him.
Yep.
And that's why I feel he's probably the leader of that team, him and Marcus Smart. I just want to get you guys' take.
He's the MVP right now.
For the finals MVP, definitely.
Yeah, he's the front runner. His to lose, but I think it's gonna flip flop. I think Golden State gonna win. And then when they go back, I think they're gonna win that game 4 in Boston. And when they go back to Golden State, they could actually win game 5, and then Boston win game 6, and then game 7 is gonna be
a battle.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I don't know I just feel like it's a cut and dry Golden State. Like a lot of people feel like it was gonna be Golden State in 5. I heard a gentleman's sweep, and that ain't happening. No. So
I said in 7.
I think it's gonna be Boston in 6.
I'm closer to you, Coach, because I had Boston in a gentleman's sweep.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Boston in 6. I actually think Boston's going to win the next game. Then Golden State
is going to win.
State,
yeah,
and it comes back to Boston.
I think Golden State's going to win the next 2.
Ooh.
And then we go back. Yeah, I think Golden State's going to win the next 2.
Okay.
I think the way we're looking at Boston with Miami, flip flop.
Yeah.
They win in Golden State. They lose the first game in Boston. They win the second game in Boston. I mean, where we at? It's the second game coming up. Yeah, so I expect Golden State to 1, 2. Yeah, I expect Golden State to win this next one. Flip flop and go back to Golden State, and then whatever happens. I can't really predict it from there, but I think the flip flop is going to continue. Boston doesn't seem to stay consistent. They never lose 2 in a row, but they never win 2 in a row either.
They never win 2 in a row either. Yeah.
They won 2 in a row in the first round.
And the Warriors have they have
low blow.
Well, the Warriors have that streak too, a winning streak after coming off a loss too, like Boston do. So I think, and they know it's they don't want to be down 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to play with more desperation, and I think these teams have figured each other out. It's just about that fourth quarter execution. That's what it's going to be.
That's what it comes down to.
I agree.
Yep.
And Draymond not getting in his own way.
Well, also Draymond has
or being a catalyst
in Boston, and the officiating is going to be different in Boston.
I hope so.
Yep.
Like, don't be stupid.
Well, there's another point I wanted to bring up because I'm rooting for Golden State, but there's several times during the course of these series, Draymond could have got the tech and could have got suspended, yo. When he put his foot on JB's head, to me, he should have been thrown out.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
Right. When we talk about, the earlier eras, there was more physical, more contact, more rough housing, and we like that. We appreciate that. We don't want to see it from Draymond. Or we go, Draymond's out of control. Draymond needs to be punished, reprimanded, suspended, tech. But then we go, it's foul that he got thrown out of the series with the Cleveland Cavaliers when
Right.
So it's like there's a little hypocrisy going on right now, depending on what we're talking about. We either like the rough housing in the physical play, and we like what Draymond's doing, or we don't. We want to see him get punished and thrown out.
You can be physical without being dirty.
Right. And without being a clown. That's
what I'm saying. You can still be physical and not be dirty.
Pulling the shorts was a clown move. That had nothing to do with anything.
He does antics.
Here's what I think Draymond did. I'm not sure if it was press conference today or it was after the game last night.
He owned it.
He said about back in the day with Lambeer and those guys, their fines were $2,000 or whatever the case was. And he said, today it would be $1 million. He's not trying to risk $1 million. I think at that point, he gave himself up. Because now he told the world, I'm doing all this, but I'm really not about this. And once you do that, I think the Celtics now had the advantage. They know he's only going to go so far. They know that it's all an act.
But you can know somebody's not really about that life and not really trying to fight you, but just annoy you to hell where your game is just, this guy is just annoying. It's not we're going to fight. Or I'm scared of him. Or he got.
But if I know you just trying to annoy me now, I know that it means nothing to me. It means nothing. The only way you're effective is somebody you feel like, yo, this could go the wrong way. You know, he might hit me, or I might get hit, or I might have to hit him. I think now that he's made that point of, I'm not trying to fight. I'm not trying to get fined. I'm not trying to lose money. You're a joke now to me. I'm not going to pay attention to your antics whatsoever. I might actually slap you on the butt when you do the stupid stuff now.
Yeah, but after Malice at the Palace, none of these players is really trying to.
No, I agree.
Nobody's trying, but they all know that. Yeah. It's just how can I get under your skin? But it's something that you say it, but they kind of all know that anyway. He's just telling us that as the members of the public. But the NBA players, they know what it is. It's like the last person that I really thought had somebody's heart, like he got this dude's heart. Danny Granger had LeBron's heart, yo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Danny Granger.
I forgot about that.
Had LeBron's heart, yo.
Yeah.
Dude, LeBron ain't want no issues with Danny Granger. And you could see LeBron's body language, his face. Danny Granger must have told him, look, dude, we go outside, I will punch you in your face.
Yep.
That's the last time I really, and I guess, when Udonis Haslem did it to his own teammate, Jimmy Butler.
Well, yeah. Udonis has a few guys' hearts, but,
Yeah, but I don't really see that really at all in the NBA. I haven't seen that in years where it was like nobody's taking Pat Bev serious, really.
No.
But that still makes him, he's still annoying. He still gets under people's skin. He still can disrupt the flow of your offense because he's. Wait a minute. Yeah, but Gilbert Arenas be putting the gun out on the.
Agent Zero had a gun problem.
It's a little different.
Xavier McDaniel choking up Wes Matthews. And Vernon Maxwell, that was the dude Jordan was actually afraid of.
Yeah.
That's what they said. They were like, everybody thought that Jordan didn't want to face Olajuwon. They said Jordan didn't want to face Vernon Maxwell.
Yep. I saw Xavier McDaniel get at Jordan a little something.
Yeah, and that's when Jordan was like, UX, but it wasn't going nowhere.
No.
It wasn't going nowhere. But yeah, there was some hardcore dudes out there. But we was back. I was listening to something about Steph and Magic, and the comparisons and what Steph is being compared to now, and people criticize Magic for his lack of defense. But what the Lakers used to do was they would put Magic on the power forward for a time, and they would put Kurt Rambis on the small forward and let Worthy guard the 2 guard, and Byron Scott would always guard the 1. But against certain teams like the Sixers, they couldn't really do that. So Magic had to hold Andrew Toney, and that's why they used to call Andrew Toney used to kill the Lakers. like kill the Lakers. He dropped 40 on the Lakers because Magic couldn't guard him. And when you think about that part of it, there's certain and in those years, you know, Magic was guarding Tony when it was a 4-4-4 year. So, you know, it's part of the game, even though we keep acting like it doesn't, which bothers me as an old school person, is that we act as if defense doesn't matter now. Like, and it does, because a guy like Klay Thompson actually does defend. And I'm giving him credit because I feel like he's not able to defend the way Klay Thompson wants to defend because he's only been back for 6 months. Mm-hmm. But I think Klay, playoff Klay, could guard either one of those dudes if he had his legs the right way. So that's why I think is not. I mean, that's why I think is important. And I think for Steph, that's a problem. You know, he gives effort, but you can't have Derek White and Marcus Smart getting 47 in a game and you getting 35.
Yep.
You can't have it. They can't have that many points. Marcus Smart shouldn't have more than 12 to 14 points. Derek White should have more than 11 or 12 points. And you can go get your 35. They got 25.
Yeah. That's a position you can't lose.
Yeah.
Golden State can never lose that position and expect to win games, actually.
Nah. They gotta win. They already know that Steph is gonna give you 30, right? And you already know that you're gonna get between 18 to 25 from Klay. Boston they can write down 50 for their two guys.
Yep.
Then it's a matter of does Wiggins show up or does Poole show up? Does Horford show up? Does Smart show up? So that's when you get into that next tier of player, and that's gonna. And then also is the end of the game and the want to at the end of the game. And I just think that Boston in the fourth quarter, they weren't interested in game 2. They were down by too many points, and it was a wash. They got what they wanted.
Yep.
And now but they're going to be engaged, I think, the entire series here because they understand how fast it can switch and flip on them if they don't stay focused. They can't be lackadaisical. And so and then behind the scenes, I'm voting for the black coach.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. No, I'm loving that Ime is the head coach of the Boston Celtics, and he happens to be married to Nia Long.
And she happens to be at the games.
Right. So big shout out to him. But the Boston Celtics will just always be the Boston Celtics in the racist town that Boston is. So it's hard for me. Like I'm rooting for the black coach, but I just know what they did to Bill Russell when Bill Russell was.
I get it.
Hey, I get it. I get it, Hawk. But you also a Dallas fan, so. All right.
No, we're not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
He's a newly Raiders fan.
Well, no, I'm not.
He didn't make that commitment.
They didn't sign him. They didn't sign him. So I have some Dallas Cowboys sensitivities.
You've moved that way now. Okay.
It's nostalgia and what used to be, but I'm not rooting for the Cowboys anymore. No, I'm not. If the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, you won't find me rooting for the Cowboys. I'm just gonna watch the game, do research for our show, but I'm not rooting for the Cowboys.
Your fan evolution. I'm really happy to see that.
I mean, well, Jerry helped it along,
Jerry, he can bring you along quickly, but he can cure a crackhead if he could.
Yeah, man, Jerry, Jerry just showed his whole entire ass. So I was like, you know what? I can't even play myself by walking around with the star on. Cliff will tell you, come on, man. Well, Wes, man, the cowboy, that star. Come on, bro. You rep that star with pride.
Ask you a question. Remember when they played Buffalo in that first Super Bowl? After all those years, did you watch that game at John's house, Hakim?
I was there for that 50-something to nothing game.
Yeah, because that was the game I broke my foot that Saturday at Livingston Gym. And the doctor put me in an air cast until Monday, till I can get back to the doctor. He said, "I'm gonna get you see a specialist." And I remember leaving John's house with the air cast was damaged, and I drove my car stick shift with the broken foot. I don't know how I did it, but I was in agony that Monday. I know that. I know that much. I remember because I remember you was there. I was like, that's right.
Yeah,
Hakim was right up in there.
I was there. I was there in Livingston when you broke your foot. I shook you and you twisted.
Oh yeah, that wasn't. No, you wasn't there. That wasn't. I wasn't there.
Was there too.
That definitely did because you didn't have a shake in your body.
You're talking about I hit you with the round the back.
Besides you behind the back, everybody knew it was coming. Hey Cliff, you can put that on the grocery list. Like everybody buying milks and eggs, Here it comes.
He just waited for it. You just waited for it.
Here it comes.
Y'all was Luka Doncic with it, slow motion. You knew it was coming. Couldn't stop it. I was good for 2 points a game with that move right there.
Man, listen. Coach, we used to play 2-on-2. We used to play 2-on-2 back in the day. And John and Hakim would be partners, and me and my boy Aaron. It would just be hilarious. Aaron would just be giving everybody the business. He was the shortest dude out there. Talk about you too small, you too small, you too small. And everybody knew whoever John held. And we would just go at John the whole time. Hakim would be sweating and trying to. Whoever John is holding, just go to him. That's it.
Yo,
who is Soka?
Yeah. And you know, West stayed on the high post. you don't know what I'm talking about, E. You don't know what I'm talking about. He said I have a high behind, so I used to just lean on him, put my butt on him, and nobody could get around me. Well, yo, West one of them dudes, right? His butt is on his shoulders. So West would do a move, put the bucket in. We go, good play. You pat him on the butt. West, good play. West gets you on the post. Ain't what nothing you can do.
I used to get on that. My favorite player was Bernard King, coach. So I used to I used to try to emulate Bernard. Like I get on the block and turn around jumpers. Up and under like Mikhail, the Mikhail move. That was the patent one right there. But nobody does that no more. The footwork.
Yeah. Well, Jordan Poole. Who was it? Robert Williams.
He caught him.
He drove. That Jordan Poole is ill with the footwork, but he drove baseline real hard. Step, spun, reverse layup using the rim.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh my God, this move was so beautiful because he was lost. Like Jordan Poole was trying to figure out who to pass it to. He was lost. He ended up in the paint with this big 7-footer, 6'11", whatever he is.
Yep.
And he drove hard baseline, got him on the other side of the rim, reverse pivot, hit him with the up and under. I'm like, this dude Jordan Poole is nasty. And there's another move he did in game 1 or game 2. Where he was coming from the right wing across the lane, and he stepped hard left, then went the other way, used his right plant foot as the pivot, and then swung back the other way. And it's like, how do you think of that? 2, how do you practice that? It was just amazing. Like, I see him do it. I don't see Kyrie do that. Kyrie does too many other tricks that he didn't need to do that. But that particular move is just...
Yeah,
he got it mastered.
Poole's footwork is really, really amazing. You know,
Tatum has good footwork too.
Yeah, Kobe has Tatum has Kobe footwork.
Hey, is he Kobe or is he no B?
He has Kobe-esque footwork.
I put that up on Facebook. I said, is Tatum the next Kobe or no B? Everybody said nope.
They're different players.
I never think any player is the next of any player. I just think
they're different.
They're
different players
from guys,
different people.
Yeah.
Or when you see Ja Morant, he makes you feel like you're watching Allen Iverson / Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
When you watch Kobe, he made you feel like you was watching Mike.
Mike.
Yeah.
And I think that people are expecting the same thing from Jason Tatum relative to Kobe Bryant. And I don't know if that's fair or unfair.
Yeah, I think they felt that way with Devin Booker. Anybody that Kobe spent time with, they try and put that on them. But
Kawhi Leonard spent time with him, and Kawhi Leonard spent time with him, and he's Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah,
I think and Jason Tatum.
He
like
comes
you said,
out with the
Devin
number
Booker.
24. He dressed the way Kobe dressed in his Celtic workout. He dressed the same way. Like he's trying to put on the Kobe, like Kobe did with Mike.
They want to emulate that Mamba mentality. They want to,
and that's what it is, the Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but I don't see that. I see JB with the Mamba mentality more than I see JT with the Mamba mentality.
I mean, it's a process, like anything. You're not going. Look, the Mamba mentality didn't happen overnight itself. So learning it is not going to happen overnight.
Well, what I'm saying, JB doesn't tout the Mamba mentality. He just gives me that feeling that he's locked in and focused when they play. JT,
I agree, but he didn't spend time with Kobe. That's why they put it on Tatum and Booker. Those guys that spent time with Kobe. Kyrie spent time with Kobe. You know, and it's unfair to these kids actually because they are really kids.
Well, Kyrie spent time with Coach E, so you know.
Yeah, and a lot of his, the things that he says, being
Flat Earth.
That comes from
you talking about Flat Earth, Coach?
Flat Earth. Gave him Flat Earth science, God.
I am a flat earther.
Crazy. All right, so what else we got on the docket, gentlemen?
Hey, have any of y'all been keeping up with what's going on in boxing the past couple weeks with these championship fights?
I have not.
There was a lightweight fight Saturday in Australia.
In Australia, I saw it. Yeah. 2 undefeated.
And I actually I caught it. I don't even know how I caught it because I didn't expect the championship fight to be on ESPN. I'm used to pay-per-view fights. But it was actually a good fight, 12 rounds, And then it
was from Vegas.
The week before, who was fighting? Someone was fighting. It was on.
Your man is was little. What's my man?
Javante.
Yeah. Davis. Tank.
Tank. Yep. So it's been some good matches, and I think boxing is trying to get the big matches on a regular now, which we haven't seen for a long time.
Well, JT just brought up Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Shakur Stevenson versus Tank Davis, if that was to happen, who y'all think got that up?
That's going to be a really good fight.
Shakur is
good fight.
Good.
Both are good boxers.
I think Shakur is pretty good.
Yeah, Shakur is. He's skilled too. He's the truth.
I think Tank might have a little bit more power, but Shakur makes it hard to hit him.
He got better defense.
Yeah.
That
would be a really good fight.
Shakur is bigger, right?
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, he just seems like his defense and his size could be the problem for Davis. But Davis is so fast. His hand speed is so fast. Yeah, and he hits hard.
He hits hard.
Yeah, man.
So, I like what I'm seeing from these young boys, in boxing. Because I need boxing to come back, man. Because I'm not an MMA guy. I'll watch it from time to time. I need to see sweet science.
So the sweet science, with the MMA, and I know, I'm not a fighter, I'm not a martial artist, I'm not a boxer. I don't want no smoke from nobody out there. I ain't trying to put nobody down. I don't get it twisted. I don't want nobody step to me. Yo, son, I seen you, and then come on, push it. Hey, be Geraldo Rivera with the busted earlobe out there. But watching MMA, there's the sweet science. There's a skill set that boxing, when especially dealing with some solid fighters, some solid boxers, you just see the skill level, you see the technique, you see the strategy being employed. You see where the MMA is more like, go get them.
Yeah.
That's a little not entertaining for me. Yeah, I'm not really with the big knockouts and you jump on a dude and you pound on his face like this. Come on, man. But anyway. So yeah, I'm right with you, Coach. want to see boxing make its way back into the to limelight.
And I
That'd be
know
nice.
I got on late, but did y'all speak on Robert Walton buying the Denver Broncos?
No,
We
we
did not.
didn't. Thank you. And they made it a point to highlight the sister that's a part of that ownership team, that ownership group. They got one black woman that's down with them. And then you go, when you see the Waltons, I'm not Rob Walton. I don't know what his particular brand of politics is. I'm just gonna assume it's in line with the Walton family.
Yeah.
So it's like, the sister could be a part of the ownership group, but is she, just a Clarence Thomas sister, or is she a sister?
Yeah, and I'm sure she's a real minority percentage of the
Yeah,
ownership.
and you heard how they put out the fact that all the owners were ecstatic it was the Walton guy, because they didn't want the black guy that was one of the leading people on it to get that team. Because again, they can't do what they want to do with that money if they let somebody else in that door.
Yeah, but considering it's in Denver, Colorado,
He wasn't surprising.
It wasn't a long shot. It wasn't gonna be.
We know it's surprising.
If brothers do get into that game on that level, they'll probably be like, maybe like a
Washington.
Well, Seattle is up right.
Seattle's possible.
I mean, they're liberal up there, but it's still, Shay.
Yeah, it's still Shay.
Yeah, Seattle is a possibility. Washington, if they can ever get rid of Dan Snyder.
Well, Dan Snyder did what Jerry Buss did. I mean, Jerry Buss did. He put the team in his wife's name.
Smart man. I like
That's
it.
what he did.
Well, before you hopped on, we were talking about the Commanders. Talk about Jack Del Rio. You want to add something to the conversation? Just for the audience, so they know, Jack Del Rio made some statements in regards to the insurrection on January 6th.
Right.
He compared it to
the
George Floyd protest, and he called the January 6th insurrection a dust up. Basically, he said F the police, because 5 police officers died as a result of that insurrection. He basically said F the police. But
I think I think we got to stop looking to coaches or owners or any kind of sports figures to make substantial or intelligent statements regarding politics and society, because that's not their forte. And I also believe that the longer people live, they're going to show their true colors and who they are. And old white men, just like old black men, old white men are going to be old white men. And it's going to come out the older they get. And old black men going to be old black men. If my father's 80 years old, he just speaks his mind. And sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you just said that. Are you out of your mind?
Jack Del Rio is like 53 though. He's not 80 years old.
No, he's not. But I'm just saying he's an older guy. Jack Del Rio is older than 53.
54, 55. He's him and Shannon.
Gotta be older than him.
He's older than him.
Is he?
Yeah.
What you talking about?
Gotta be.
Jack Del Rio was playing football when I was in high school. He was on a team when he was playing football.
No.
Yeah. Jack Del Rio.
Yeah.
Well, Shannon said they were on the same Ravens team in 2001. Shannon's 53 years old, 54. So I say Jack Del Rio's 56.
I can maybe.
Right. So to your point, Coach E.
He's 59 years old. He's about to be 60.
He's 59, still too young to be considered an old white man.
Yeah, he's not an old white man. But
right.
But to my point of, we look to these guys who are coaches or athletes and stuff. They gonna say some wild stuff and how they really feel, because it's been suppressed, especially the whole time they were playing. They suppressed a lot of things that they said and how they felt and their politics and their affiliations. It comes out later, and I don't think we should be shocked. I just think we should actually be like, oh, thank you. Now I know.
I gotta push back on that, and this is the reason why. Things don't change until we change them. If you accept the status quo, you're gonna get the status quo, Right?
I'm not saying accept it. I'm saying understand that this is how they are.
No,
See, I come from the standpoint that this is how they are anyway, so I'm not shocked.
Right. We know that, and like I said, is this white man racist? That white man racist? They're all racist to me because I look at racism in a certain way.
Degrees of it, yeah.
Is this well? I ain't gonna say degrees of, like, there's racism, and then we perpetuate it. Even black people perpetuate racism against black people. There's only one form of racism. That's racism is white supremacy, white privilege. Racism is a social construct that was created to divide humanity up in colors so white people in power, excuse me, not all white people, but white people in power could control the chessboard, right? Yeah. That is racism. Racism isn't
power plus privilege.
Right. Racism isn't you don't like me. Racism isn't you call me a name. That's racism isn't black people highlighting racism. Racism isn't black people going, I don't deal with Shay Whitey because Shay Whitey treats me. That's a reaction to racism. That's not racism. Okay. So I know Jack Del Rio racist, like I know Jerry Jones is a racist, like I know so-and-so is a racist. Now, we're not looking for Jack Rio to say XYZ. Jack Del Rio, put himself out there to say XYZ. So now it's like, okay, as a member of the community, as a member of society, knowing that we have these young athletes, these young black players entering into a league, how do we make it more equitable and fair for them? How do we create an environment where, those white men who feel the way they do either don't say it, right, or put in a position where they have to face it and address it so we can change it. And I think that's what we're finding out with Jack Del Rio, him coming out and saying what he said. Because Cliff said that he's like, he wants to talk about it now. He wants to address it. And his issues, it took you this long to want to address it after watching so many black men and women die at the hands of police officers. What happened to George Floyd, Eric, and all this stuff, and Colin Kaepernick. You didn't want to talk about it then. That didn't make you want to have when you consider all the players you're coaching are African American. Your livelihood is dependent upon these African American young men, boys coming in, and like you wouldn't want to have a better understanding of the people you're dealing with and their experiences and where they're coming from. No. All right, well, then you need to be moved around, and examples need to be set. Right. So other white people come in before they get the job. Go, you know what? Maybe I need to enter the sensitivity training. Yeah. Maybe I need to get more lessons because I want to be in this. Quick story. Old friend of mine in Cliff, Kevin Lynch, from summer camp. His name is Kevin Lynch. He was my best friend at summer camp. From 1984, roughly, 83, 84, until 1987. Kevin Lynch grew up in Manhattan, Park Avenue, 98th Street. You already know what that is. Privilege. But he's in Manhattan. He's coming up with the hip hop, with the young black kids, the cool kids. He's playing basketball, and he likes the swag, he likes the energy, he likes the music, he likes all that. And he goes away to college, University of Buffalo, and he majors in sports journalism. His dream is to become a sports journalist, right? So in camp that last year, he had said some things to me, like it's my first time trying to smoke a cigarette. And I went to go smoke a cigarette. He passed me a cigarette. And I went to go. He said, "Yo, don't nigga lip it." Huh?
Wow.
Then it was he goes away to school to Buffalo. And I think that's when the racism, like he started to really pick sides.
Yeah.
Right? He comes back to camp the next year and he's a totally different Kevin. Like he's just different. Like I'm Hakim, the cool black kid with the hip hop, and everybody likes me. Everybody wants to be down. Cliff, no, right? Kev started to drift to the more conservative folks over there. He didn't really want to deal with Hakim no more. Keep the relationship going, over the years. He graduates from college. He interns at one of the radio stations, the sports radio stations, trying to make his chops in the sports journalism world. We hook up one summer, we kick it, and he's expressing his frustration and his displeasure with these privileged black athletes who won't give him the interview, and he feels that, you know, without them they don't even exist and they don't know who the real power is, and da-da-da. And he said to me, this is what he said to me. He goes, without Phil Knight, Michael Jordan would be nothing. Like, what are you talking about? No, without Michael Jordan, Nike would be nothing.
Yeah, that's
Right.
how I would look at it, but okay.
Right. So Kevin Lynch would eventually hit his wall in sports journalism. And you know his career choice after sports journalism? Take a guess, guys. His name is Kevin Lynch. What do you think he became? NYPD.
Wow.
A copper.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
And so it's these thoughts, these narratives that we continue, we perpetuate, even us as black folks.
Yep.
Perpetuates narratives that give them the out, gives them the benefit of the doubt, and there is no benefit in doubt.
No, I agree wholly. I think these guys like Jack Del Rio, when they say this kind of stuff, it's like, okay, he shouldn't be coaching anymore. Move him to the side. That's it. There is no sensitivity training for that because it's so deep rooted. You not like, and that goes to my age thing. At 59 years old, you're not going to change how somebody's thinking or how they feel. It is what it is. It's only going to get worse, if anything. I'm not certain it gets better at that point in life. So let's just move him out and bring in another coach, a different coach. And I think this is where players have to step up and say, I'm not playing for that dude.
Not playing for that dude.
That's what I said. The players got to do. You can't fire him. You just got to say, I'm not playing for him.
Yeah, I'm not playing for that dude. Either
because the firing makes it reactive.
You get rid of him. I'm not playing for that dude.
And
that's what has to happen when these guys do certain things.
It's just unfortunate that, you know, the African American men and women aren't grounded in enough self-knowledge to make that stand. They aren't resolute enough in themselves. They don't know enough about themselves and the power of themselves and their people. You know, in America, individualism is the ideal. You know, it's the root of American culture is to be an individual. And again, that's a part of divide and conquer, to take you away from your true power, which is your community.
Yep.
Right. And, you know, you got these athletes coming into the, you know, the NFL, you thinking dollars, you thinking, you know, saving your family from the depths of poverty and that's all, you know, whatever I got to do to so it's kind of hard to take these stances. One, when you don't have the information, and two, when the what do you call it? The stakes are so high, you know, for your individual circumstance, you know. And I think you and Wes are both right. The players need to stand on that, but how many Colin Kaepernicks are there in the world?
Yeah.
Well,
you know what? I think we're getting closer to that day when it does happen. The show, The Game, which is about football, is essentially this is what happens. The team basically stands up to the owners, like, yo, we're not playing. You know, and I think that is the road we're heading towards. And I think it's going to happen because the team, I believe, is going to get together around one of these issues. It's going to be one of these lightning rod issues where a team says, you know, we just can't do it. We can't do it.
It won't be the Cowboys.
No.
It won't be the Giants. It won't be the Jets.
I don't know. Who knows?
Nah,
it could be.
It's NFL is so old boys network. Like, you know, we got to applaud the NBA and how the NBA has changed over the last decade, 20 years. Like the way they've embraced, you know, African American culture. And of course, they can do a lot more. Nobody's perfect. No league is perfect. There's always more you can do. But, you know, Adam Silver, hats off. You know, just the NBA, you know, how they've embraced, you know, even, you know, this second civil rights movement, the second, you know, police brutality and the protesting and letting players express themselves. And the WNBA is another league that kind of champions their athletes having a voice, having say so, and we
And I
applaud
also
that,
think it goes back to your point earlier about being local and being global. The NFL is local.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA is global, and that's always been their vision. Not always, but since who was before?
David Stern.
It's been global, and when you're global, you're going to take things a different direction and look at them a different way. Um, you know, and that's really it. Major League Baseball is actually global.
Yeah, Japan,
Japan, Korea,
Caribbean, Caribbean.
the Republic,
Mm-hmm.
South America, NFL is the only local league there is.
With the biggest audience.
Yeah. So
It's amazing, right?
something's going to happen and something's going to change. I don't know. I believe it is going to be the Cowboys that spearhead it because I believe in Dak Prescott being the leader.
That ain't gonna happen.
But
I'm on the with Hawk on that one. Like I'm a big time Dak. I was a big time Dak supporter, but I kind of feel like he's a
company man.
He's toting the line, man. He's a line toter.
I think it's going to happen with one of these teams in the near future. It's going to be one of these issues that's going to be the lightning rod that they're not going to take anymore.
Yeah, we'll see, and hopefully nothing tragic has to happen to realize that.
Right.
But unfortunately, I'm afraid that it's going to take something extremely tragic to for NFL owners because it's the ownership at the end of the day.
Yeah,
it's not even the league. It's not the NFL. It's the ownership. It's the ownership. Each team is its own entity, owned by an individual person or group. So it's hard to tell somebody what to do with what they own because then they feel like, well, I don't really own it. If you get to tell me what to do, I don't own it. No. And when you look at this right wing pushback to Barack Obama, keeping it funky, and the ownership in the NFL is definitely on that side.
Oh yeah,
they're on that side. There's no impetus for them to change because it's going to be a new crop of slaves coming in next draft, and whoever don't want to play this year will replace you.
I mean, it's going to be interesting what happens with the XFL. I made the mistake of turning on the USFL game. I have never seen a stadium so empty in my life.
Which stadiums are they playing these games in?
They're playing in Birmingham. I think it was Birmingham, Alabama. USFL plays. I think all their games are played down there. Like they're doing it kind of like a bubble, I guess. But that place was so empty, it almost I don't even know what to say it looked like. It was just empty. No fans whatsoever. And I'm like, y'all could just give away tickets or something.
Yeah. See, I'm thinking like it's gonna have you can't compete against the NFL even during the summer because during the summer nobody's really checking for football.
Right.
Like it's basketball, it's baseball, and you're doing things with your kids. You take on vacations, and you're not locked in waiting for a game. Now, when September comes around, kids go back to school, people are working. Like the weekends, you kind of got Thursday, Saturday, Sunday kind of earmarked as a relax from your week.
But that's what doesn't make sense with this USFL thing. I think they play their games on Friday nights. Like it's supposed to be a family night out. That's how they should position it, and just get tickets away right now to get people
engaged.
I think it's Friday nights and Saturdays. Like just get people in the stands right now as part of their weekend outing. Like this isn't marketing genius to figure this out. They have a TV contract, so you're good there. But
what they should do is partner with an automobile manufacturer and give away a car every week.
That'll get some fans there. An electric
That'll
car.
be,
An electric car.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they don't want to partner with Eli right now because he getting bad press.
Yeah. In fact, it should be even better down there since it's in Alabama. Give away a truck, an electric truck.
Eli.
Elon Musk.
Elon
Oh,
Musk.
Elon.
Elon Musk. Yeah, Elon Musk.
What bad press is he getting?
Well, you know, again,
He fumbled the Twitter deal. That was all the big rules. That was all the
no,
big.
not the Twitter deal.
Well, that's still
he's promoting. He's promoting that these corporate owners, these corporate businesses, get these people get these workers back in the office. It's bad for business, but it's bad for his business and people like him because he owns those business buildings, and those business buildings are empty because people are working from home. So all those big skyscrapers that they bought and put up, there's no one in them, and those corporations are buying or are leasing back. They're ending their leases, and they're taking less space and becoming an open concept. So instead of having 10 floors, they got 5 floors. So what you gonna do with those other 5 floors in that building because no one wants them? So Elon is losing money. So he goes out of his way to make this point about the businessmen need to get tougher and get these people back in the office as soon as possible. That's because these property guys, these big business building guys, they're losing money. That's all it is.
He sound like Elon Candy. Masa,
you know what I mean?
Masa.
Yeah.
It's just
go back to work.
Yeah, get back in the office so we
in the
can.
office.
So your bosses can still continue to pay us the tax-free. They don't pay. They're not worried about it. He just needs to get paid, right? The corporations are paying it, right? So they got to keep getting paid. So we got to get these people back in the office so they can continue to make money. Because who wants to be on 2 floors when we leased out 6 floors to you?
Not to mention when you're working from home, you can work on your 9 to 5 and your side hustle at the same time. In fact, you can use your 9 to 5 to help fuel your side hustle. And that's the last thing they want.
Yeah.
So we need you in the office so we can oversee what you're doing, how you're doing it. Make sure we take, percentages of anything you create on the job.
I definitely think that there's something to be said for office camaraderie and stuff like that, and that you need to have. You can have some of it, but
you do a company picnic.
I just don't think that. I don't think you need to be there every day to be an effective company. And the bottom line of his premise is really, he don't want to tell you this, but they're losing money as property owners.
Yeah, real estate development, commercial.
Yeah, real estate developers are getting crushed.
Yep.
Well, commercial real estate, office, they're
getting crushed.
But they got to reimagine how these buildings are being used as well. They could be used for other things. They could be used.
Yeah, exactly. They could get creative.
Yeah.
Well, we tell them what they tell us, and you have to adjust. You have to
adjust.
And you have to add something, evolve. You have to add something to your skill set. You have to add more value.
Pull the bootstraps up. They got the boots on. Pull up your bootstraps.
So all these little colloquialisms and sayings that have been thrown at poor black people for hundreds of years. It's amazing how it doesn't apply to the upper crust when things don't go their way.
Boomerang effect. That's what it should be.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, FYI, Cliff, your boy Garrett Cole got knocked out in 2 1/3 innings. He gave up 5 home runs.
Wow.
Jeez.
But they were down 7-1. Joey Gallo hit 2 home runs today, and Aaron Hicks hit a home run. So the 2 Yankees that everybody wanted to be traded, they both made it 7-7.
Wow. Okay.
A little slugfest, huh?
In the 6th inning, yeah. So the Yankees are back in the game, but yeah.
Hey, the other ownership thing that y'all speak about before I got on is Phil Knight buying the Portland Trail Blazers.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
It's him and who else?
Him and I forget the other guy, but they put in a bid to buy the Portland Trail Blazers.
Yeah, but they're not for sale though, are they?
Yeah, because Paul Allen died and put the Trailblazers and the Seahawks in a trust. And in the trust, they have to be sold.
Oh, okay.
The family can't keep them.
Okay.
So, Phil Knight if Phil Knight gets Portland Trailblazers, that's gonna be something else.
Yeah. Well, Portland Trailblazers, there was discussion about possibly Bradley Beal. There being some, but then Bradley Beal just, I guess, signed or agreed to sign to a $250 million max deal with the
Wizards. I got no more sympathy for Bradley Beal. That's the second time he did that. He could have been out twice and could still got that money. He don't want to win.
No, he wants
Washington
to be wealthy. I'm
not mad at you for that, but he could still got the money, and he could have still got that money and been on a winning team.
Yeah, he don't want the pressure.
Yeah,
he doesn't need the pressure.
He still got that money.
He likes being the man, and making a lot of money, and he still has that faith and belief that
they can build around him. Yeah, that they can do something with this team.
No, I don't think he cares.
I think he does.
No, I think he has that.
I don't care.
I think he has that belief that ownership will make the moves that need to be made. But if they don't, he still got $250 million.
Yeah. It's like with the history of the Washington Wizards organization. I'm not talking about the team, just the organization.
Right.
How they've been run for decades now.
Poland.
If he doesn't know what it is, he ain't gonna never know what it is.
Yeah. And my point is, if I hear him ever say, "I want to be traded," come on, no, you don't.
I think he had to sign with them to get the Supermax.
Yeah.
So now he can ask for the trade.
But he could have signed when he took that other max deal. When he got the first Supermax deal, his first contract, he could have left then, and he would have got, instead of getting 130, he would have gotten like 100 and 109, like the D'Angelo Russell contract, right?
Yeah,
and then he could have
21 million.
I guess I thought he wanted to. He did say
his name in a lot of trade scenarios. So
yeah.
Okay, I got a question. So you say, instead of getting the 130, he would have got the 109.
Yeah.
So he made a business decision, right?
Yeah.
That 130 was if he left, that 130 is guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
So
they're both guaranteed.
Right. So can he take the 11 million and write it off?
No.
I left that money on the table as a business decision. That's a loss.
No, it's not a loss.
No,
it's not a loss.
He never earned it.
He never earned it. He never signed that contract for that.
Okay, I got you. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Cart before the horse. You sign for the contract and you go earn it and you get it. You don't. It's guaranteed. You get it. Okay, I got you. Yeah, right. I was trying to.
And I just think at the ages that you are, right? So my thought process, like I look at, like, say Aaron Judge, for instance, right? He turned down 7 years, $120 million, right? Do I think that's a bad deal? Probably not. But if I'm him, I go 5 years for $240 to $250 million, right? So you get 2 less years, but get a bump up in $30 million, right? So maybe you're making closer to $40 million a year for 5 years, and you're 35. And now that $300 million contract you were looking to get for 9, you can probably sign with somebody for an extra 150 for another 4 years on that economy scale. And now you got you really made close to $400 million in 9 years. Same thing, right?
Yep.
Versus, so I still think the money's gonna still essentially be there, and I get the business part of it, but you in a situation where Aaron Judge ain't gonna go to another team outside of New York and not win. He might, but I doubt it, because he's so marketable here. In endorsements, he's gonna make another 50 to 100 million easy over the course of the next 2 years. So he could easily be a $500 million guy in over the course of the next 5 years.
He ain't going nowhere. You make more in endorsements in New York than any other place.
He's not going nowhere. Yeah, and he played it right. I'm not mad at him, because I think he should have turned that deal down, because if you look at even over the course of Mike Trout's numbers, they add up, where if he took less years and got more money, he could match Mike Trout, and that's what he wants.
Yep. Yep. And he's,
Well,
hey, look, he's having a hell of a year, so
Oh,
that's
yeah, he's-
even more.
he'll be able to write his own checks by the end of this year
Yep.
if he keeps this up.
Yep.
Yeah.
man.
So,
Well, listen, gentlemen, we had a really great show. This was dope. Wes, you want to say something?
no, I was gonna say good show.
Oh, it was
That's
a great
exactly what I
show.
was gonna say.
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock. Like we 2.5 hours in the can, like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, we went 2.5 hours. This is a long show, but a lot of information, great conversation. I appreciate you, brothers. I appreciate everybody in the building. JT, you already know week in and week out. You right there with us. Therm from East Orange. Robert Swinney Jr. Big shout out. Mike Johnson. Thank you. This is IZM Sports. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace out. Peace.